Hi, welcome to The Pursuit of Truth. So two things I wanted to talk about. One was a neighbour, an elderly lady. She's lived in a house for 50 years. She left and she came to say goodbye. And she said, twice actually, at the end, nice to have known you. And I don't know that, the first time she said it was like I was confused or something. It was just a strange, maybe people of that generation say that, whereas, normally these days people, if they're leaving their neighbours, they just say bye, and, they don't put that finality to it. I don't know if it was that, or why it struck a chord with me, because I kept thinking about it. Nice to have known you, it's, known is past tense. It's like the admittance that I'm never going to see you again, and maybe from her point of view that, following normal procedure, she may pass before us and therefore never see us again. So it's nice to have known you. But it's just, I don't know, I don't know why it triggered something in me that gave me I had to try and understand, what did she mean by nice to known you? Well, it's not that I understood it, but it's just the sentiment behind it is it chilling, or I don't know. I don't do well with goodbyes and ends and things because of, I assume I always put it down to at school and when friendships ended, and also my cat Tom dying, not being able to go back to that time before, so sort of ends always haunt me a little bit. So I don't know if it's because it triggered that. Nice to have known you. It's funny how short life is, and what, because we live this artificial life that's been constructed about how we interact with each other, yet we're human beings that have found ourselves on this place, and so many of us will never know. And I was also thinking about these YouTube videos that, if someone watched my first one, was it 20 years ago or 15 years ago, whatever it was, you see I've aged, and one day people may watch these videos when I'm no longer here anymore. It's just a weird thing to think about that. And then also I was watching Chris Packham's BBC Two show. I think it's called The Autistic Mind. I'll put a link. Which was really eye-opening. It's about autism and letting people with autism speak their mind to try and show what it's like to be autistic. And it is interesting, the spectrum. I never knew that Chris Packham, or I never would have thought he was autistic. I mean, I used to watch him as a kid on The Really Wild Show, and now he does these autumn things, and he never came across as autistic. So I don't know if that was masking his part, or he has a mild autism, or autism that you don't see when you're on, when he can turn it off when he's on camera. And it made me think about me as well, because I've been thinking about whether my social anxiety of the past was actually traits of autism, or it's difficult to tell. Because I do in social situations find it very difficult, and I do mask in trying to I was thinking about this last night, like if there was a situation where I have to meet with people or whatever, I sort of have this thing where I think about before of like just sort of getting inside my mind and hiding in there type thing. It sounds really weird speaking it out, but I always have that sort of thought of like, and then I sort of reward myself. I think about, well, once it's finished, I'll be able to do this or whatever. Usually that's how I cope with situations I don't really want to have to cope with. And I have had a lot of social anxiety. The thing is, looking at me now, I'm a lot better than I was when I was younger. When I think about, not wanting to go to like I was thinking about these, prom is always a big thing these days. I don't remember. I mean, they used to have parties, I think, and I never used to want to go because I didn't know what to do and interact with people or dance or do what, and even when I was in my 20s, you know, if I wanted to go to the cinema, I remember there was once I wanted to go to the cinema in Ealing, I think it was, and I just kept walking past it. I couldn't go in. I didn't have the confidence to go in and ask for a ticket to go and see a cinema or go buy something. And I remember just, you know, trying to sort of pluck up the courage or go walk past it, and I would get there and just walk past it. That's not normal behaviour, is it? Even now I still struggle with certain social aspects. I prefer to do things with my wife because I can't. Well, when I'm with her, I don't think about it. It's like I'm on autopilot, but when I'm on my own, I can't do these things. I can't think straight, as it were. So, I mean, a lot of these things, they do sound like autism or social anxiety. I don't know. Maybe they're one and the same. I don't know. But anyway, it was a really interesting program. Seeing it sort of inspired me a bit more to this letter that I'm trying to write to the education people and trying to get them to change the way funding is in schools. I probably will read the letter out on here, the letter I'm going to send to them all. I hope I just don't get, well, I'm expecting I'm going to get cut and paste sort of, yeah, you know, sort of. The problem is, and with a lot of parts of the world, and this is why it connects to everything, is a lot of people just blame it on something else, like the school blame it on the government, you know. So they know there's a system, they know, you know, the system isn't working, but they just follow it anyway, even though they know it's not working. They won't make the change. And a lot of people do that in life. They know something isn't working, but they just do it anyway, and then they can just blame it on that, rather than trying to correct it or standing up for it. And that's why nothing ever gets changed, and these things just allow to go on and affect people over and over again. There shouldn't be a good enough excuse to sort of say, you know, you're an intelligent person. If I can come up and think of these ideas and think that this doesn't make sense and doesn't feel right, why isn't it you aren't able to do that when you have professional positions? Wow, that's a government decision, we can't change that. Well, if that was the case, nothing would have got changed. Or look at all the rights and all the activism and all the things that have got changed in our world because people stood up and said, no, this is wrong. And yeah, maybe in their lifetime it did get changed, but things did change eventually when people stood up. It's our duty, because this is our lives. Anyway, that's enough of me waffling. I'll take it easy. Rest in peace.